live and direct from the Golden State. It's intelligent talk media, the Denise Gary Show. Now, here's Denise Gary.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Denise Gary Show today. Feel good today. I came from a great luncheon. It was the Bakersfield Republican Women Federated. And I was so pleased to have an opportunity to meet the new California GOP leader, Jessica Patterson. I know there's been, on social media sites, arguments over, we think she's an establishment Republican. She's not a conservative. We think she's more liberal or more moderate. Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Patterson is an absolutely strong Republican. She doesn't support abortion. We need to get past this. We've got to get past this. Is this a conservative Republican or is this a more centrist Republican? Is this an establishment Republican versus a conservative? We have got to win back the state of California. And we need somebody who's going to help make that happen. And I believe that she can do it. I'm hoping that she can do it. Let's pray for her. Let's pray for her wisdom, her understanding, her direction, that she does all the right things to get Republicans elected. Because, ladies and gentlemen, there's lots of conservative Republicans that would probably love to run for office. And they need to run. And there are others in other parts of the state where maybe they would never elect a conservative Republican, but if we could get a Republican elected, that would be far better than a Democrat. So let's pull together as a party. I wanted to share a few things I wrote down in the meeting. You say, well, where is she? I invited her to be on the broadcast today, and her schedule was so tight today that she cannot come on the broadcast today. But we will have her on going forward. I hope to get something scheduled, if not, this week, next week, maybe the week after. I want you to hear her, and I was just pleased as someone who's been pregnant before and unable to have any children. I was just pleased that she was, really with the president on not supporting abortion, and I thought, well, that's great. But anyway, we'll get to that. I want you to see this clip I saw yesterday. This was an incredible. It's by that Stacey Abrams that ran for governor in the state of Georgia. You're not going to believe what this woman said. But anyway, let me get back to my meeting, and I'll show you that in just a moment. So, at the meeting, talking about taking back California for the GOP, she said, if not you, who? If not now, when? In other words, it's going to take all of us working together. You've got to work with me, and I need to work with you, and we all need to work together. She says big picture issues is fundraising. She said, if fundraising was done where just everybody was asked to give $1, there's always going to be people that give more than $1. And that's really important, to fundraise. If you can be helpful in that area in terms of fundraising for the GOP in 2020, please do so. Please let Bakersfield Republican Women Federated know. Let me know. I need help on this show. If everybody listening to this broadcast gave $1 to the Denise Gary Show and sent it to Post Office Box 82162, Bakersfield, California 93380, I think of myself as somebody that can raise awareness on the GOP and help raise funds. I saw this press release concerning Kevin McCarthy, the GOP leader, the House Minority Leader there in the House of Representatives. It was announced last week, and I didn't even know about it, that through House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy's efforts through political committees in the first quarter of 2019, Kevin McCarthy raised $23.06 million to get Republicans elected. That's fundraising. And you've got to spend the money, because the Democrats have got Hollywood backing them to the hilt in the state of California. They've got tech giants from Silicon Valley backing Democrats to the hilt. I mean, we've got to have this kind of fundraising. I know that was a point that Jessica Patterson made, our new California GOP leader. She says every dollar that comes to the California Republican Party stays in California. That's what she said. So we've got to fundraise. Kevin McCarthy is fundraising and working with his political committees. Kevin McCarthy has raised the most ever by a House Republican in one quarter. That's incredible. So our Congressman Kevin McCarthy has made a historic breakthrough in raising more money for the Republican Party to help Republicans get elected than any other House Republican in a single quarter. That's fabulous. It says, additionally, McCarthy transferred $5.56 million to the National Republican Central Committee in March, totaling $7.28 million transferred for the quarter. He added to his Take Back the House joint fundraising committee and other efforts. He's transferred or raised $12.5 million. So Republicans have got to be on the offensive. We've got to take back the House in 2020. And I want to read to you a statement from Congressman McCarthy. He stated, quote, Republicans are on the offensive and the American people are counting on it. After just one quarter, the new Democratic majority is already wasting it away, spending more time appeasing the new Democrat socialists than solving problems. And we know that's true. I mean, look at all the time the Democrats are spending talking about issues that nobody can possibly afford, certainly not the middle-class taxpayers of America. You've got California Democrats talking about, Kamala Harris, the senator from the state of California, Dianne Feinstein. Oh, let's give everybody free health care. Yeah, right. It's not a right that it's not a right. Where does it say it's a right that on the backs of hardworking Americans, we've got to pay for everybody's health care? That's not a right. It's not in the Bill of Rights. It's not constitutional law. People have a right to get a good education and get a good job where they can get insurance benefits by the people they work for, or be able to pay for it themselves. I helped my mother out by paying for her insurance. We have opportunities in America. Plus, we have public hospitals like KMC and federal clinics that people can get help if they need help. I remember being a graduate student, poor, working my way through graduate school. I nearly killed myself doing it, and I had to have major surgery in my second year of grad school before the comprehensive exams. And I had to go to the public hospital down in Los Angeles. I went to USC's teaching hospital, which is the women's hospital. It was a nightmare of an experience. I mean, there were illegals there that were hanging on sinks wanting to give birth to their child right there in the hospital. They'd get a birth certificate saying their child was born in California. There were street people, there were indigent people that were out of their minds screaming next to me. There was a gunshot victim that was rolled in, screaming profanities. It was quite an experience going to the public hospital, anyway, I just got a little tiny bill for major surgery. I was under the knife for 7 hours, and I got this little tiny bill, and I just paid a little bit of money every month. And when I finally graduated with my master's degree in political science, international relations, Middle Eastern affairs, I went to work full time and just paid it off. But there's opportunities in America. If I can work my way through all the years that I went to school, other people can do it too. And so you just live on canned soup for a while. Patterson for a while. Crackers,
Ramen.
milk,
Peanut butter.
peanut butter, right? Okay, so anyway, I was really thrilled that Jessica Patterson for the state of California talked about every dollar raised here in the state goes to the California Republican Party, and that Kevin McCarthy, said, he's raising all this money to take back the House of Representatives for Republicans. He said, and I'm quoting him, instead of working through their promises such as infrastructure reform, talking about Democrats, they're not working on infrastructure reform. The Democrats are working on trying to take down the President of the United States. I couldn't believe I saw just a little piece, because I work full-time in addition to doing the show full-time. I got a little tiny piece of William Barr, the Attorney General, being attacked and attacked and attacked in his testimony. And I thought, in fact, it says here, he was congressional Democrats, and boy, the man was attacked because he talked about how he didn't intend at this stage to send the full unredacted report to Congress, because he says there's grand jury material. There's classified information. That's a federal crime. Our Attorney General would be committing a federal crime if he didn't redact all the information in Mueller's report that was classified or marked as secret or marked as top secret or still had other compartmentalized clearances. Yeah, there's many classifications. And I had classified secret and top secret. That's a federal crime. He can't release that to Congress or to the Senate, or he can't release that at all. The other thing he says he can't release grand jury, can't release classified. Everybody should be able to get that. Why can't Jerry Nadler get that? On the House Judiciary Committee, why can't he get that? Material tied to ongoing investigations, he can't. Our Attorney General William Barr cannot release information that's currently under investigation, or information that could harm peripheral, where am I missing? Am I missing something here? Peripheral budget, it says, that he will be willing to work with Nadler on to provide additional information on. Peripheral third parties, excuse me. Okay. So, grand jury material, classified material tied to ongoing investigations, and that information that could harm peripheral third parties. Yeah, what if that third party was you, Mr. Democrat, or Miss Democrat, or Mr. Independent, or Miss Independent, or Mr. or Miss Undeclared? I mean, I get it that you hate the Republicans, but what if you were that third party? Do you want your name floating out there for the media to descend upon and harass and bother? No, you don't. Those peripheral third parties that are way out there on the edges of the Mueller investigation, you wouldn't want to be hounded and harassed. Your whole life would be turned upside down. And think about your children. Think about your parents if you have any. I mean, think about the family that would be harassed. So, and isn't it interesting, by the way, got off track again, but isn't it interesting that Mueller was given the opportunity to review the summary Barr released last month, and he declined? I thought that was interesting. And I also thought it was interesting that not only did Mueller not want to even read William Barr's Attorney General of the USA, that little summary that he submitted to the public, but it doesn't sound like he's interested in reading the redacted report that's going to come out. But I might be wrong on that, but it doesn't sound like Mueller's interested. And by the way, let's remember, as William Barr pointed out to Congress in the meetings that he's had today, that he and Mueller have been working together. He contacts Mueller all the time. saying, how do you feel about this being redacted or this unredacted material? What do you think about it? What do you think about it legally? So you've got the former director of the FBI and the current Attorney General of the United States talking to each other about what really should be redacted under the law and what could be unredacted. That ought to be a comfort. It's a comfort to me. It's a comfort to me. When I think about all the Democrats that served as the deputies to Mueller in writing this report, when I think that all of them were Democrats, it's my understanding they were all Democrats that Mueller hired. It's encouraging to me that Mueller is talking to Barr and about the legal issues so that they can be on one accord on what is revealed to Congress and the American people. And I'll tell you, I think that William Barr seems to be the grown-up in the room with all those flaky Democrats. But anyway, getting back to what Congressman McCarthy said, pointing out that the Democrats, they're not keeping their promise. They're not working on infrastructure reform and lowering the cost of health care. The Democrats are obsessed with trying to damage President Trump and avoid the reality of their ineffective majority, end quote. Kevin McCarthy's absolutely right. I've said it 100 times on this show. While the president is out there lowering the costs of your prescription drugs, which he has done, while the president is out there working with the Republicans in Congress and the Democrats trying to work on a new plan for health care, that's really going to be a blessing in every way to the American people. When the president is out there lowering taxes and making sure that everybody has a job in America, deregulating the economy, when the president is doing all that, and all the Democrats can think about doing is asking William Barr about the Mueller report, it's just unbelievable. Anyway, big thank you to our leader in the House of Representatives, who says he is 100% committed to giving our members and candidates every resource advantage possible to debate the issues and win the arguments that will decide our country's future. So very true. And we certainly know and appreciate the fact that our country's future depends on the fabulous policies that this president is moving forward on, including the border. And I'll get to that issue when we come back from break. But I just, so before we go to break real quick, wanted to thank Kevin McCarthy for that. Wanted to thank Jessica Patterson, our new California Republican Party leader, for talking about the real need to raise funds. And she talked about messaging. She talked about the social media. She talked about the documentary called Unplanned about abortion. Everybody ought to see it. She talked about ballot harvesting. And we'll be hearing more from her. I will get her on the Denice Gary show, and we'll talk to her and ask her to, I think, make more clear what people can be doing to turn California around. And of course, Kevin McCarthy, we all have to do whatever we can to help Republicans win in the House. By the way, spread the word, share out this broadcast. Anybody that's running for office that's a Republican, let me know. Let's get you on the show. Let's hear what you have to say. I absolutely want to get people on the broadcast that'll turn around the state and turn around the nation for the values that we hold dear. Our Judeo-Christian values, which apparently Democrats don't stand for, not even when it comes to Israel. Think about Genesis 12:3. I will bless those that bless you, I will curse them that curse you, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed through you. Talking about the Jewish people. And hasn't the earth been blessed through the Jewish people with all of the medical breakthroughs that Jewish individuals have come up with? All the scientific breakthroughs, all the military equipment breakthroughs and other scientific and technical kinds of breakthroughs. It's incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Denice Gary Show, and we'll be right back, but we've got to pay the bills, so stay tuned.
I want to tell you about a place I love to go. Frugatti's Italian Restaurant. Very few locations here provide seating outside in front of a fabulous water fountain with an atmosphere that is reminiscent to me of eating outdoors in Venice. This is real Italian food by real Italians. And what makes it even more so is owner Ralph Frugoletti, who nearly a quarter century ago brought a wood fire oven from Milan, Italy to make, like his mother, fresh homemade bread and pizzas. Moreover, Frugatti's Restaurant offers you not only the very best in Southern Italian cooking, even importing the finest ingredients for authentic Italian food, including a fitness menu. After all, Ralph has represented the United States and Italy, competing in the Master Championship Games. He knows all the right food for good fitness, so check out the menu. After today's broadcast, run over to Frugatti's Italian Restaurant and Catering at 600 Coffee Road here in Bakersfield. And after a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday service, stop into Frugatti's for a great lunch. I'll see you there, and tell Mr. Ralph Frugoletti that Denice sent you. Salute. Bon appetito.
Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to legal matters, contact Barb Reynolds. She is a contract paralegal to lawyers, and she will take good care of you. Moreover, she is a Kern County legal document assistant to pro per litigants. She has 47 years of paralegal experience, and for over 30 years has been an educator in the field of law and paralegal work. If you need help handling your adoption, bankruptcy, civil suit, divorce, debt consolidation, evictions, immigration, or attorney referrals, contact Barb Reynolds if you want to win your case. Call Tehachapi Court Services today at 661-822-1994. Barb is simply the best. Call Tehachapi Court Services today at 661-822-1994.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so thrilled I've got the owner of Scope 365 Fitness here with me today, Craig Jansen, Navy veteran. Craig, tell the audience out there why everybody in town needs to come up over here and join.
Well, Scope 365 is a 24-hour club, so we never close, unlike a lot of other clubs here in town. Additionally, our club is always super clean, and one of the things that you're going to find here is a different environment. We strive to give you a VIP experience here, so we want to get to know you. We want to know your story. We want to know about you and how we can help you succeed and meet all of your fitness goals.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, come on down to Scope 365 Fitness. You're located right here on Brim Hall. Tell us your other location.
We have another location up in Tehachapi, and then our third location here in town is also located over on Chester and Columbus in the Food Mac Shopping Center.
Thank you so much, Craig. You have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Denice Gary Show. I was just looking at this Mueller report update about, Barr's testimony before Congress today. By the way, he's scheduled to go back on Capitol Hill on May 1st and 2nd. For those of you that want to, be sure and tune in to the hearings before the Senate and House Judiciary Committees. But I wanted to share one other thing, and reviewing this report during the break. I remember hearing a question about Democrats asking William Barr about the administration's lawsuit against the Affordable Care Act. People, please share out with your friends that are Democrats and independents. That was the problem with the so-called Affordable Care Act. It wasn't affordable. It wasn't affordable. You know, I know families where mothers were homeschooling their children and raising their children, and they had to go to work just to pay for the Affordable Care Act insurance coverage. I mean, it was terrible. These are middle class, even upper middle class people where, you know, they can't raise their kids, but where other people down here, you know, financially at the bottom financially, you know, they get it all free. Because the Affordable Care Act wasn't free to the rest of America who really couldn't afford to pay a penalty even if they didn't want Obama's affordable, quote unquote, Affordable Care Act. That's right. A lot of people just paid the penalty. They didn't want it. The Affordable Care Act made a single young man have to pay for somebody's abortion. He wasn't ever going to get an abortion. He wasn't ever going to get pregnant. And he's thinking, why am I going to pay for somebody else to get an abortion? I mean, there was so much wrong with the Affordable Care Act. It just wasn't affordable unless you were just living on welfare, getting food stamps, and you know, you're going to get one more freebie. Here you go. On the backs of the middle class, whether it's lower middle, middle, upper middle, and even wealthy people. Why should they have to pay for somebody's insurance? They don't need to have to pay. They worked hard. You know, people work hard in this country to get where they are. Unless it's just handed to them on a silver platter, I wouldn't know what that was like. Never had that happen. But, you know, a lot of people work hard for every dime they've gotten. That's just how it is. Anyway, I saw that question. This woman was really nasty to William Barr, like it was his decision to bring the administration lawsuit against the Affordable Care Act. Well, you know, he's just the Attorney General. This is the President's decision. And I just thought it was fabulous that the immigration policy on family separation was brought up. You know, ladies and gentlemen, listen carefully and then share this show out to every Democrat and independent you know. Guess what? Family separations were written into the law during the Obama administration. And Obama, yes! President Barack Hussein Obama, guess what? He was all into those family separations. He separated babies from their mother. He separated children from their mothers and fathers. Obama, was doing all that. President Trump got elected president and it was still happening. It was President Trump that stopped it from happening. Hello, telephone a Democrat, email an independent, let them know, you know what? That's Obama's policy. And those so-called cages, which are not cages at all, but the rooms that were created through fencing so that people could be separated out because of, you know, their age and probably sex, I imagine. I haven't been down there to actually see them. I'd love to go. But you know, you can't have everybody in all age groups running together. That's not going to work. And all the sexes, you know, boys and girls always together, that might not work out too well. So there had to be, you know, separation. Anyway, I just thought, you know, unbelievable that Democrats are talking about family separation, because that was a policy by the Democrats that President Trump corrected through executive order and ended that. Which is another reason why President Trump is telling everybody the truth when he says, we're overwhelmed. We don't have the facilities to keep all these people that have been organized to come in caravans up to the border and then, you know, wait in family housing. And who wants to pay for it? I don't want my taxes raised any higher in the state of California to pay for housing people that couldn't care less about the country, just want to make a bunch of money and send it all down to Mexico or Guatemala or Honduras or El Salvador. It's not even put back in our country. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars that don't grow our economy here, but are sent back. Yes, Robert, you wanted to say
I
something.
had remembered a couple of weeks ago when the former DHS Secretary
Nielsen,
Nielsen was
Kristen
talking. She was talking to Congress about the cages,
Mm-hmm.
and she said that they have to separate because some of them have gang affiliation, and if you put them in the same, there's going to be a lot of violence among people.
Right.
So
Yeah, why would we put gang members in with innocent teenagers that don't want to have anything to do with the gang? Thank you for bringing that. Yeah, I just, sometimes it's hard to pull it all forward when I'm talking. But yes, that was another reason I remember hearing about. And it's so important. You can't just throw everybody together. That's not going to work. And, I mean, think about molestation issues too. There's all kinds of things. You just can't do it. But anyway, and besides that, people, you know, if you take a minute to think things clear through, again, share this show out with everybody. Remember that some of these people that come over with these children in tow, they aren't their children. Remember, there's human trafficking going on. There's human smuggling going on. It's called a sex trade. It's called human slavery. You know, we have approximately, I believe, 27 million people enslaved around the globe today that are doing, you know, domestic labor, menial labor, are working in the sex trade. They're slaves. They've been kidnapped and forced into it. And we have to have a family separation for a minute to just even ascertain, is this a family unit? Or are these children being smuggled into the country for nefarious purposes that will ruin their whole life? Anyway, I don't understand the Democrats. I really don't. I think they're evil. Speaking of evil, let's go to this. I want you to hear this awful woman. She is the failed Georgia gubernatorial candidate, Stacey Abrams. She called evil a bill that went before the Georgia Congress, before the Georgia state legislature. It was called the Fetal Heartbeat Bill. The fetal heart, or in other words, the unborn infant's heartbeat. Fetal Heartbeat Bill. Georgia's legislature sent the Fetal Heartbeat Bill to the governor's desk last month. The legislation would make an abortion illegal once a heartbeat can be detected in the womb, which can happen in as little as 6 weeks. She said that she thought that it was evil. Stacey Abrams, the gubernatorial candidate, said that she thought that this fetal heartbeat bill was quote-unquote evil, abominable, and bad for business. Wow. So killing babies isn't bad for business? What is that? It's bad for business to save an unborn child's life so they could be put up for adoption if the family doesn't want them, if the mother doesn't want them? That's bad for business to put up a precious little human being? Who knows what cancer cure they might discover? Who knows what tremendous breakthrough in all kinds of research endeavors that they might have been destined for. And you snuffed out their life because it was inconvenient to have a baby. Oh, well, hold your legs together. You know, do something serious about keeping yourself from getting pregnant. But I mean, my God, if you get pregnant, can't you just carry the baby to term and then just give the baby up? God only knows, and I mean that, God only knows what tremendous contribution that child might make. Let's play that clip.
So and I know you are obviously a booster of Georgia, of your state, but there are a lot of people who are saying the answer to what Brian Kemp did, the governor there, did in terms of being the Secretary of State and restricting votes, basically being the referee as well as being the candidate, the reaction to that and to some of the things he's done as governor. I mean, this fetal heartbeat bill that was just signed, people are pretty appalled by the fact that he signed what is, I think, the most restrictive anti-abortion bill in the country. And so you have some folks that are talking boycott and saying that Hollywood should boycott the state of Georgia, that films, we know The Walking Dead is shot down. There are lots of television programs and movies are shot in Georgia and Atlanta. What do you make of these calls to boycott the state of Georgia?
I think it's a call to action and a call to attention. I do not actually support a boycott of our state. I think you re-victimize women, in particular when you take away the jobs that have come to the state. However, I think it's very short-sighted of our business community and our political leadership to not recognize that these jobs can go elsewhere. Georgia grew its film industry on the backs of the shutdown of the tax credit in Michigan and North Carolina. Those tax credits are still available if those governors, now Democrats, refund those credits. And we've already seen governors across the country say, you can bring your jobs here. I think Georgia has to realize that while we are enjoying an extraordinary boom in the film industry, there's nothing that says it has to stay here. And we have to be a state that is not only friendly to business, we've got to be friendly to the women who work in these businesses. You should not have to worry about your ability to control your bodily autonomy because of the governor has pushed such an abominable and evil bill that is so restrictive. It's not only bad for morality and our humanity, it's bad for business.
An abominable and evil bill? An abominable and evil bill? First of all, I don't think that Hollywood is going to boycott the state because they have pictures like The Walking Dead being...
They film a lot.
They film a lot of stuff in Georgia, and I don't think they're all going to pack up and move because that costs money also, to pack up everything and move then to another state and get reset up. So that's about business too, honey, and I don't think that's going to happen. But I think it's incredible that the business of murder, including infanticide, is considered to be wanting to prevent that from happening is considered evil and abominable and bad for business. Thank God that woman, Stacey Abrams, lost that gubernatorial campaign by 50,000 votes. All I can say is, thank you, God, that woman didn't get into office. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Denise Gary Show. We'll be right back after commercial break.
Trump has correctly stated that economic security is national security. And in the Tehachapi Mountains of Kern County resides a United States defense contractor, Anates Products. Here is the Silicon Valley of the aerospace industry, right here in East Kern. Anates Products is a forward-leaning manufacturer and distributor of hardware sold to major defense and aerospace companies. We're talking about Boeing, Lockheed Martin, United Technologies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon General Electric, and on the list goes, as well as to every United States ally worldwide, including Israel, America's most important strategic ally in the Middle East. And for everything that flies, Anates Products is providing the parts. And with me today is the president of Anates Products, Scott Baker. Hi, Scott.
How you doing?
Scott, tell us why you believe this corner of Kern County is the hub of the aerospace industry.
Well, this portion of Southern California here out in the Antelope Valley, it contains, some of the most cutting-edge technology going on in aviation today. We have some of the UCAS programs with unmanned technologies going on. We have Edwards Air Force Base out here, who's doing continual testing in their area. We have the Naval Weapons Station up there at China Lake, doing some fantastic cutting-edge stuff, cruise missile technology, and those things are going on. We have Scale Composites locally doing a lot of composite technology, which is new. We have SpaceX, which is a private one, putting a private entity putting things into space now. This area is the growth center for aviation's future, and this is the area I think that as a nation we need to be concentrating some of our effort and taking this technology. And as we all know, with the space program from Apollo years ago, out of these technologies, we the private sector are going to reap some of the benefits of that.
Thank you, Scott. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Baker, president of Anatase Products. Anatase Products, located in the beautiful mountains of Tehachapi, California, in eastern Kern County, is home to some of the most innovative and specialized technologies in the world, including those at the U.S. Naval Air Warfare Center, Weapons Division at China Lake, Edwards Air Force Base, as well as Stratolaunch, launching satellites capable of delivering multiple orbits in a single flight to space. And it is Anatase Products that has provided the manufactured devices. And the president, Scott Baker of Anatase Products, Marine Corps veteran, reactivated on 9/11 to monitor threats to the homeland, is carrying on a tradition of providing for the security of the United States by manufacturing every kind of fastener on anything that flies, as well as providing a full testing destructive laboratory. Contact Anatase Products, now in business for 30 years, at 661-822-6873. Located at 1314 Goodrich Drive in Tehachapi for your manufacturing and testing needs today.
Beta O'Rourke. He's another one. Thank God he lost his campaign against Ted Cruz in Texas. Anyway, did you know he's running for president now? Of course, you probably all know that. But Beta O'Rourke, Robert Francis O'Rourke, that's his real name, Robert Francis O'Rourke. Beta O'Rourke raised over $9 million in August to defeat Ted Cruz. So, and by the way, he supports partial birth abortion and infanticide. So just so you know, and he called the Prime Minister of Israel a racist. Real whack job, this Beta O'Rourke, Robert Francis O'Rourke. Anyway, I wanted you to know that he raised that $9 million, to think about that in the context of what I shared with you earlier. What did I do with that paper, Robert? Oh, here it is. So, when you think about it, Beta O'Rourke alone raised $9 million in August. That's why it's so important, I think, what Kevin McCarthy is doing in raising that 23.6 for Republican candidates. I mean, thank God that was raised in the first 3 months, and it's going to be incredibly important, because you have got these high-tech companies that are ultra-liberal, and Hollywood and people like that are supporting these Democrats. So we really need to support Kevin McCarthy, and we need to support Jessica Patterson. I mean, just so you understand, that $9 million is a lot of money for a guy that calls a strategic ally prime minister a racist. I mean, that isn't even to show good judgment, that you would refer to a tremendous ally of the United States calling their prime minister a racist. Israel's an ally of the United States. They do a lot for the United States in terms of helping us with our counterterrorism measures, fighting terrorism around the globe. Yeah, they don't talk about it. Nobody talks about it. But there is a lot that happens behind the scenes. Trust me. I know, I've had top secret clearances, and Israel is a very important strategic ally in the war against Islamic terror And of course, in terms of our military and growing our military strength and providing the kind of qualitative edge in our military equipment. And you know, I wanted to share that out because I remember seeing it. Beto O'Rourke, 9 million in August alone. So Kevin McCarthy was able to raise 23 million, and he raised gave 5.56 million again, as I said, in March. So we Republicans, you know, it's a heavy load. So let's keep that in mind. You know, we have to put it all in context. So, okay, I wanted to get back to the abortion thing. Just one more minute. Call your member. Call. You know, here in California, of course, we have 2 Democrats that are senators there in Washington, D.C. But please call them about Senate Bill 311. This would require healthcare practitioners, doctors, to provide the same degree of care to a child that was born alive after an abortion as they would any other child that's born alive after a woman gives birth. If a doctor violates this and intentionally kills a child born alive, they can be fined and imprisoned for up to 5 years. I'm not really happy with the bill, I just want you to know. I think if they left an unborn baby to die, it's called infanticide, I think they should be in prison the rest of their life. It's called murder. And to me, 5 years is not nearly long enough. But, you know, let's get something down there on the books so that they can be prosecuted and these doctors can be put in prison, at least for 5 years. Unfortunately, the mother of infants born alive and then killed cannot be prosecuted. And I think that's unfortunate too. So maybe you want to support the bill, but maybe you want to talk to the Republicans in the Senate and ask for a stronger Senate bill. I'd like to see something stronger. I really would. I'd like the mother to be. I'm with President Trump. You know, President Trump, didn't he say when he was running for office he thought that women that killed their unborn child after a certain point in time ought to be prosecuted for murder? Did he say that? Or is that just me hoping he'd said that?
I'd have to look it up, but I think he did.
I think he said something about, you know, these women that, you know, are inconvenienced by having a baby. So that doesn't mean you kill a human being. Doesn't mean that you kill a living soul whose heart is beating and growing inside of you. What excuse do you have? They say, well, the life of their mother. Well, you know, let me tell you, that doesn't happen too often. Usually it's just some emotional thing. Woman's on some emotional kick, or she doesn't want her body to be changed in any way by giving birth. You know, she wants to keep her body looking good. Well, you know, grow up, ladies. Anyway, I think the bill should be stronger, but at least it's something, and these doctors could be prosecuted. It's Senate Bill 311. There you have it. Okay, I want to move on to something else that came to my attention. I was looking at my Getty 360. This is spring 2019. I don't know how many of you have gone to the Getty Museum. It's, you know, on the way to Los Angeles. I don't know what the turnoff is. I think there's a Getty turnoff for the museum.
Yeah, off the 405.
Off the 405, right. It's been a few years since I've been there. But anyway, I was looking at their spring calendar that they sent out a couple weeks ago. And, you know, I thought it was interesting. They're having a showing that's entitled, "Why is the World's Cultural Heritage Being Erased?" Let me read that to you again. Why is the world's cultural heritage being erased? And it talks about the destruction of people's cultural heritage. And I wanted to share out with you something that I think is pretty important. First of all, in Israel, in the Jericho region, a cave, ancient burial cave, from the Jewish period, the Second Temple period for the Jewish people. So this is, the patriarchs and the matriarchs of the Bible. Those of you that read the Torah that are Jewish people, or Christians that read the Old Testament, those people that you read about in the Holy Scriptures are, of course, buried in what is today Israel, or in areas that are now controlled by Muslim Arabs, and so enters the problem. So, the Arabs that were allowed to basically take over Jericho, which is a biblical city. In fact, Jesus was in Jericho once upon a time, right? Mm-hmm. And the Jewish people, the Jewish tribes, they lived in Jericho. But a cave was recently exposed in the course of landscaping work, and apparently the local Arab farmers just rolled their tractors over the site. And this is a burial site. This is an ancient burial tomb, and there are several burial caves in the area that have the bodies of biblical figures. And so I thought, isn't that interesting? I wonder if it actually mentions that the Arabs, the quote-unquote Palestinians, living in Jericho, living in parts of Jerusalem, living in the Gaza Strip, they've destroyed. Did you know that? Yeah. When I was in Jerusalem just a few years ago, I like to go, I hopefully I'll go again this year. I went there I wanted to, look at and get a good idea on the national security situation there. And so I took a couple of weeks and went there, met with people, and I was there looking out at this historic cemetery there in Jerusalem, and it was incredible, all the grave sites that had been desecrated by the Arabs. No respect. And there was a family, a Jewish family that was there traveling, and I guess one of their ancestors, I don't remember who it was, but I understand it was a famous individual, and the grave had been desecrated, and they were so upset to see that a family member, generations back, grave, they'll take an axe hammer and they'll just, the tombstones, or they'll try to dig up the bones. They do all kinds of things, the Arabs, in Jerusalem and in Jericho and in other areas. And I thought, it says in this one particular area, by the way, this is the largest Second Temple era burial ground in Israel. Human remains were strewn everywhere. The catacombs were thoroughly ransacked and looted. And the burial caskets that had been resting in the caves for, we're talking about over 2,500 years, 2,500 years. Many of the antiquities, I guess, apparently were destroyed and carried away. ISIS, the Islamic State, ISIS in Iraq and Syria, destroyed ancient synagogues and churches, all been destroyed. Just civilization, civilization has been destroyed by the Muslim Arabs in the Middle East and in and around Israel. And it was just incredible to me, and I thought, I wonder if J. Paul Getty Museum is going to be really politically correct or not. Tuesday, April 30th at 7 p.m. I teach a class at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. I would love to go. If any of you go, let me know if it's politically correct. If they talk about how the Muslims have really destroyed these cultural heritage sites that are, part of the foundations of civilization. Let me know. Go to the DeniceGaryShow@gmail.com. Go. You'll put up my email address there for me. Thank you. Nimrod. This was an article, by the way. This is from Iraq. this picture, it shows an Iraqi soldier, ancient Mesopotamia, to the Roman period. The ISIS members have destroyed several things there. What was it? I wanted to share something out. I should have, oh, here it is. And also in Syria, Aleppo was once the crossroads of major trade routes. ISIS has now destroyed the great churches that were in that area. An ancient synagogue was destroyed. It's just terrible. Ancient historic landmarks where people could gather together and appreciate these things is now gone because ISIS or other terrorist groups or Muslim farmers destroy things in Israel, but they're just destroyed it. It's so sad. If you go to that event on April 3rd at the Getty Museum at 7 p.m., let me know if they talk about how that ideology called Islam has so informed individuals that they feel it's perfectly appropriate to destroy other people because they're Christians or Jews, destroy their historic landmarks, sometimes, over 2,000, 3,000 years old. I wonder if they're going to even mention that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a little bit of time left. I wanted to share out that a Ninth Circuit Court judge has blocked Trump's policy of forcing asylum seekers to stay in Mexico before they can be properly vetted. They need to stay in Mexico before they can be vetted. Because we can't just have these people coming into the country and being released. And I want to just ask you to pray for, President Trump has nominated some conservative judges and to the Ninth Circuit Court. And I understand that at least one of them has already been confirmed. But to think that a California judge would block Trump's policy forcing asylum seekers to stay in Mexico until they can be properly vetted is really sad. We have got to transform that California Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, that very liberal court sitting there in San Francisco. The President Trump has got to get conservative judges on that court and turn it around. So ladies and gentlemen, please encourage the president to nominate more conservative judges, even though Dianne Feinstein and Kamala Harris really came against President Trump. They went on a Twitter campaign and email and phone call. They really, really talked nasty about the President of the United States, trying to get conservative judges on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco. But it needs to happen. And I hope that you'll tweet an encouragement to the president and thank him for his tens of conservative federal judges that he's appointed to benches across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time, I've got to say goodbye for now. Thank you so much for tuning into the broadcast. I hope all of you will support my work. I live off advertising. I don't live off of them, but I teach also. But this show lives off the advertising budget. And we're really hampered in our efforts. I would like to do so much more, but every time I ask my producer to do something else, I have to pay his salary. And there's a lot more we'd like to be doing. And of course, again, I'm not paid for this. So I hope that all of you listening will send $1 into the Denise Gary Show. If you want it to be tax deductible, you can write your check out to the Middle East Initiative. The Middle East Initiative. Again, the address, P.O. Box 82162, Bakersfield, California 93380. Just send $1. Every dollar helps. Helps me pay my producer, and I need him to do this broadcast. We so appreciate it. Thank you so much. I hope everybody has a good evening. Pray for the president. Pray for the leadership in our country. Pray for William Barr, who's been under such terrible attack today. Pray for our Republicans. Pray that the Democrats see the light. We'll be right back with you tomorrow, God willing. Thank you for listening to the Denise Gary Show. Share this broadcast out. Thank you. This is Denise signing off.
Thank you for listening to the Denise Gary Show. Intelligent talk media.